It's Friday, February 22nd, and I'm your host, Paula Hersey. On Barnstable Today, we learn more about coyotes, we save the date for the Youth Job Fair, and we pick out our after-school programs for spring with Barnstable Recreation. First up, municipal news and notes. Hello down there. Sewer manhole inspections are scheduled for Barnstable Road and South Street, Hyannis from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. each day during the week of February 25th as part of the Water Pollution Control Division's ongoing sewer evaluation studies. Police details will direct motorists around the inspection crews and can expect altered traffic patterns and minor delays during the inspection period. Barnstable High School students at BTB TV, Channel 22, created this important educational public service announcement on single-use plastics and the harmful effects on our environment.
Did you know that the average American throws away approximately 185 pounds of plastic every year? That's about the same size as a baby elephant. Have you ever considered where all that plastic actually goes? Some trash is shipped overseas to be recycled, but most of it ends up in landfills or worse, in our waterways. Only an astonishing 5% of plastic is recovered, which means that out of the 300 million tons of plastic produced every year, half of which is for single use, about 79% of it is dumped into landfills or our oceans. Imagine miles and miles filled with plastic bottles and bags, cutlery, and polyester plates, harming the environment and its marine life. For marine life, plastic trash is a killer. Animals surrounded by these infested waters and mistakenly take our plastic for food, which according to recent statistics, kills about 1 million marine creatures annually. All that plastic stays in our waterways for years. We throw away 500 billion plastic bags and 35 billion water bottles every year. A single plastic bag takes 20 years to break down, and a single plastic bottle about 450 million years. There's 5.25 trillion pieces of plastic debris in the ocean. We can help prevent these numbers from rising by thinking globally and acting locally. Make sure that if you do use plastic, it ends up in the recycling bin and not in the trash. Here at Barnstable High School, students and staff go green by using recyclable buckets in all the classrooms. Here are some tips to help you live a life with less plastic. 1. Skip the plastic produce bags and bring your own shopping bag. 2. Carry a reusable water bottle. 3. Pack your lunch in reusable containers. 4. Say no to disposable straws and cutlery. 5. Store leftovers in glass jars. This has been a public service announcement from B2B TV, Channel 22, Barnstable.
You've heard them howling for several weeks now. Coyotes are in mating season. Animal Control Officer Charlie Lewis shares important and educational information on these animals and keeping you and your family safe. It's coyote season. You've heard them out there with me today. Animal Control Officer Charlie Lewis. Charlie, they're barking up a storm at this time of year, aren't they?
Yes, they are. It's the breeding season. It lasts for another probably 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then the pups will be here in late May. We'll start to see the little ones out July, and that's when the real howling begins. The parents trying to teach them how to hunt.
Really? So let's talk a little bit about this time of year, some precautions that people can take with their own animals while, obviously the coyotes are out there prowling their neighborhoods.
Yeah, it's because it is breeding season. They're probably not going to be as active food-wise. The females tend to be a little, probably more so than the males. So we don't really necessarily have to worry about the bigger dogs, but little dogs still, and the cats, we should really keep them close to home. I don't recommend putting out any dog whatsoever at night. Of course, after 10 o'clock at night, you have to be with the dog, and only 15 minutes is allowed anyway, unless you're walking with the dog. But, generally speaking, that time of night is when these guys are very active because of the breeding season, all the way through even daytime now. Right. So I would not leave a dog outdoors unattended.
Where are you seeing coyotes at this time of year?
We're seeing a big uptake in the Cotuit area along Route 28 and the Mashpee Town line. We've had some calls from people with concerns out that way. We're seeing them in Centerville, off of Finney's Lane, Great Marsh Road area, all along Race Lane. When you get out towards Crooked Cartway and the conservation area that way, all the way through to the airport area, town golf course. We're getting a number of calls now.
And the coyotes themselves, let's give viewers some characteristics. There's always some, I guess, misconceptions about what coyotes look like.
Yeah, actually, the new term is coy wolf,
Right.
You know, I certainly would dispute that. There is definitely a difference between the size of the animals. When we talk about coyotes, we're talking they can be up to 60 pounds, but more likely they range the males from, say, 30 to 45, and the females will probably be anywhere 10 pounds lighter. Generally speaking, the males are taller and skinnier than the females. Females tend to be lower to the ground.
And what's their coloring?
It can be anything from blonde to dark black, anything in between. They'll have white spots. Most of the time, though, they're on the reddish brown with like the black tip.
And what would happen, or can you give some advice, either with an animal or not with an animal? If you're out walking and you encounter one of these coyotes, what should a person do?
Make a lot of noise. Make them so it's uncomfortable. You know, waving your arms, screaming at them, picking up a tennis ball, throwing it at them. They're so quick you won't hit them. I tell that to people all the time, and they go, "Oh, I don't want to hit it." Well, chances are you won't. And if you're throwing a tennis ball, it's not going to hurt them all that much. There are other methods. You know, if you got some kind of thing in your hand, you can take and bang it. You know, that type of thing. But waving your arms with a hat in your hand, hose. Of course, this time of year we don't have gardens out, so we're not going to have a hose running as such. But, you know, you just got to make them uncomfortable.
Okay. And then with coyotes, are they a protected species?
Yes, they are. They're considered fur-bearing by the state, so there is actually a hunting season on them. I suggest that we probably see more interactions with cars and vehicle traffic where they get hit versus anything else. But there are no natural predators for them other than the weather.
Other than the weather, right?
Yeah.
And are they out more when it's super cold or as it warms up a little bit?
That's always hard to say. I think their food habits and their eating habits dictate that. If it's real cold and snowy, stormy, they're not going to be out, just like we're not going to be out. But right afterwards, yes, they're going to be moving around, because if they're in the den site for a day or two, they're going to come out and they're going to be a little more hungry than not.
Right.
So
And
that's when we really have to be observant for our pets.
right. And this, you said that breeding season lasts for another 3 weeks or so?
Yeah, approximately. Generally speaking, the first couple of weeks of March can be, even all the way to the end. In fact, luck would have it, in Woods Hole this past week, there was a discovery underneath one of the trailers out there at Woods Hole Oceanograph of a litter of fox pups.
Wow,
kits.
that's a little early.
Well, I think it's late.
Late?
Yeah, they're probably 5 months old, 4 months old, somewhere in there.
Wow.
And I think they stayed together because of the lateness. But see, foxes, generally speaking, leave after 3 months, whereas coyotes tend to be here from when they're born in late May, early June, all the way to September or through fall. They'll stay as a family unit before their young are given the boot.
And any other last advice for folks that they should know about this season and about this beautiful animal? They're gorgeous.
Yeah. The one thing I would stress is that you want to keep all your pet foods indoors. If you have to do feed outside, watch the animal. When they get through eating, pick it up and remove it. Keep the garbage cans lids on tight. Coyotes will knock them over, just like a raccoon will. keep them at bay that way. And probably one of the biggest things, and it's fairly easy to do this time of year, and that's brushing back any kind of brushy brush that you have adjacent to your homes or your property lines. I know this time of year is when I go out and I take and cut all the bullbriars that just grow through the summer. They're easy to find, the vines this way, and not so much with the leaves. And the thorns don't seem to be as sharp this time of year, but I just recommend cutting all that stuff back, because if a coyote can see you, it's less likely to come that close. It'll stay back. Just like if we see it, they know. They can sense that we're here. When people attempt to go outside to get a picture, if the minute they open the door, that coyote takes off. So, you know, that's what we want. We want them to be leery of us and just keep making that noise to move them along.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Charlie.
Okay.
Do you have a teenager who wants to work this summer? Perhaps looking for their first job? The Barnstable Youth Commission's third annual job fair is coming up on March 6th at the Hyannis Youth and Community Center. It's not too early to start thinking about summer and that summer job for your teen. 14 to 18, do you have one of those at home? Well, with me today, Matthew McCauley, President of the Youth Commission. You've got the job fair coming up.
Yes, we do. Thank you for having us. So the Youth Job Fair is a program that we created for 14 to 18-year-olds. Basically, it's a actual job fair. We have employers coming in and setting up tables where students or the youth can walk around and introduce themselves and really try to find themselves a job, as well as we also provide other resources to help fill out forms. We have Warren Rutherford there to help with labor laws and kind of knowing what the restrictions are on a younger employee, and really just everything that a young person needs to get into the workforce.
So the Youth Commission took on this project. Why? Why do you think this is an important initiative for the Youth Commission?
So as the Youth Commission, we're supposed to be the voice of the youth and really address the concerns that we find most important. And one of those is being able to find a job and something to do over the summer. You know, some people just want to go out and go to the beach every day, but others do want to or need to help their families through working. So we decided, well, it can often be a challenge to find people who are hiring under the age of 18. So whatever we can do to help that is in our best interest.
Right. And somebody under the age of 18,
Yeah.
I'm sure, Lucas, you are a first time, you just entered the workforce.
Yeah.
What could a job fair do to really, like one that's focused on youth, what does it do for somebody like you who's just entering the workforce?
Well, I think when you apply for a job, it can really be overwhelming, and being at this job fair could give a way to guide you through all these forms and applications, and maybe a job that really suits you, and something that would really work for you over the summer.
Right, and when we talk about youth jobs, the list of employers here, there's quite a few and varied folks that are going to be, this is a real job fair, it's not just a mock thing, so there's real employers there looking to meet youth. Who are some of the folks that are going to be there?
So we really, like you mentioned, we have quite the variety. You know, we have ranging from hawkers for the Cape Cod Times to perhaps some mild landscaping jobs or working even for the town or for the rec. Plenty of internship opportunities. We also have some volunteering opportunities and community service for those who are interested in that side of things as well.
Right.
And we do have more spots, of course. So if any businesses are still interested, we have a couple more tables, I believe, where they can reach out and join the fair.
So when we talk about really literally working for the summer, right? You said, some people want to do the whole, stay at the beach kind of thing. But when you're working for the summer, in some of the things that, for example, Warren Rutherford from the Executive Suite, he's going to be talking about interview skills as well. So there's going to be some real hands-on type of stuff.
Yep. So we do have a section dedicated really to what he's doing and basically giving sort of brief instructional seminars on being able to interview, what your rights are as a young employee, and just everything you need to know in kind of a quick, neat package to prepare you for whatever summer jobs you may encounter.
Right. And it seems it's a little early this year. Why is that?
So we received feedback last year from our vendors, or for our employers, and they said that they wanted us to reach out earlier. You know, they find it simpler to hire earlier in the season, so we pushed it as early as we could for our schedule, and we made it March 6th this year.
Okay. And where is this going to be held and what time?
This will be at the HYCC at 2:30 till 5 on March 6th.
On March 6th. What are you looking forward most? Have your job all picked out, Lucas?
Yeah, I've actually already applied for Barnstable Recreation, but it's really going to be interesting just to see how many kids turn up and see, because I think there's definitely a lot of kids in my grade who are going to be interested in a job this year.
Right.
So.
And some of these employers are actually going to be offering interviews once the kid expresses interest, I'm sure, right?
Sure, we've definitely had some experiences where kids will walk in, and if they make a good enough impression, they can be offered to schedule an interview right on the spot.
What's some advice you would give somebody to come to this job fair? Tie-dye T-shirt with ripped jeans may be appropriate?
I think definitely presentable. It doesn't have to be a tuxedo or something like that, but you know. Maybe something like I'm wearing, some khakis, a button-up shirt, golf shirt, just so that way the employer sees that you are willing to be prepared for a job, and show
making
that
that
you're
effort
ready.
now shows that you can be a good employee later in the summer.
Right. Do you think people need resumes and things like that?
You don't necessarily have to have one. I mean, the employers come understanding that this could very well be your first opportunity whatsoever. So it's definitely not something that's required, but you could consider bringing one.
Excellent. Anything else you want folks to know?
I think that's about it. I mean, come and get a job.
Come and get a job. And that's the Youth Ready, Set, Work Youth Job Fair. It's Wednesday, March 6th, 2:30 to 5 p.m. at HYCC. If you're a business, there are just few tables left. You can contact Amy Harwood here at the town of Barnstable. Spring is right around the corner, and registration opens for after-school programs on Tuesday, February 26th. Director of Recreation, Patty Machado, has all the details. Spring activities are just around the corner, and you know what? That registration date is coming up quick. With me today, Patty Machado from the Barnstable Recreation Spring. Yes, spring.
Yes, we're talking spring. we're planning summer, but we're doing spring now. So registration is this Tuesday. So I know today's Friday, but it's coming up fast. So parents need to sit down, especially over the next couple of days. Look at the brochure. You should have gotten this in your backpacks. If not, we have them at the youth center, or you can go online. But you need to sit down with your kids and start to plan out what the plan is for the spring. There are a lot of different programs for all the different age groups, lacrosse, softball, for anybody. We let anybody play in anything, just about.
Right.
Flag football, mountain biking, baking. I mean, we have it all going on. So it's real important that you start to plan now. Some of our programs are limited numbers, so you don't want to be turned away. And it's real important, especially for our softball program. In order to play in a game, you need to make sure there's enough kids on each team. And so last minutes make it really challenging. And sometimes what happens is we have to cut it off. If we'd known earlier, we could have expanded, but we have to cut it off because we have to get uniforms. We have to make plans for the number of kids on the team to a coach. So signing up early is very, very important for us.
Right. It's going to be later longer.
Right.
So,
Yay.
a lot of these after-school things, especially for the sports, what are some of the things that parents kind of want to understand that their kid wants to try something?
Well, that's what we're all about.
Right.
We want to expose as many kids to as many different programs that are out there. And it doesn't have to be just sports. It can be anything. We have a lot of STEM programs as well. Again, we talked about cooking. We have
Right.
bowling. We do a lot of variety of babysitting. So there's a lot of different programs that are out there. But you need to plan ahead of time and not get shut out first off, because again, like I said, some of these programs only take 12 kids, or like our hiking, outdoor hiking, you'd think, well, we could take as many as we wanted, but we can only put so many people in a van. So so we pick the kids up and take them out hiking if they're into nature. The spring is like the most fabulous time to be in any kind of hiking or outdoor program.
Oh, all
because
those vernal pools coming to
everything's
life.
happening. So we go out to Sandy Neck, we go to all the different places around town, the conservation areas and things. I mean, they walk the beaches, but they're seeing things that are just starting to bloom, and they get to know different elements in our community that there are none somewhere else. It's only here in Barnstable. You go out to Sandy Neck, there's things out there you can't see anywhere else in the world.
Yeah,
So we're so lucky here.
That's fantastic. And we will say the babysitting one
Yes, that
is
feels
like, seriously, if you're planning at this point in time to get your kid into babysitting, you got to do it right off the bat.
That's one that fills up, and it fills up fast.
Right.
We don't get the kids the job afterwards, but we set it up so that they know how to go out and get a job. Babysitting, starting out, maybe as a mother's helper throughout the summer. It's a great job for a young person to step into a full-time opportunity as a nanny in some cases, but they get certified, and there's just so much. And we have lifeguard. That's something over the last couple of years. We have lifeguard. The lifeguard tryouts are actually in here, what is required to be a Barnstable lifeguard, and then we offer the lifeguard training class. We're offering 2 lessons, one right after school, and then we have another one during school vacation in April. But those will fill up fast because in most cases they're about $400 a piece. The town of Barnstable subsidizes this program, so it's only $180.
Wow, for
Yeah,
lifeguard
this
training,
is
that's
huge.
amazing.
It's huge savings,
Right.
and job opportunities, because when you leave our class, we're going to prepare you as best we can, and we'll let you know. If you don't want to work on the town of Barnstable beaches, that's okay. We'd like to have you if you're able to do that. But there's all the pools in the town of Barnstable need lifeguards. So, and we'll train to make sure that you can do the job and you feel comfortable and confident in the job that you're going to do. So we're talking babysitting and we're talking lifeguarding. So we're already talking jobs on top of preparing kids for jobs.
Right. And one of the things that I love about all the programs at Barnstable Rec is the folks that are running these programs. I mean, talk a little bit about your staff, because I watched the basketball ones this past winter, and seeing Tim McGrath and Melanie, I mean, they are like skills-based. I mean, if you're going to play a sport, you're learning everything about the sport, and there were smiles on every kid's face.
Right. The whole idea is that you have fun doing it, but at the same time you're getting the right skills so that if you want to continue on and you find a love for that or a passion, you can move on and have the right skills to propel you through. And I will say that we have exceptional staff. We always have a full-time person overseeing the program, and then we hire as many youth that grow up here, or maybe they get cut from the high school team, or they didn't want to play in the high school team, and so they wanted to coach and be more with kids. So those kids come back and they get the skill of learning leadership. And we're always looking for volunteers. So if you're in high school, we talked about job fair coming up, but there's an opportunity if you're 14 years old that you could volunteer for us, and it can work into a job where you make a minimum wage. It's not great money, but hey, you work 2 hours in the afternoon every day. It's a little money in the pocket to pay for some gas, and you're having fun working with kids, and it's building up a leadership base that you can take with you when you go to college.
Yeah, it's a fantastic program all the way around. Any last kind of like advice for parents? They saw this. It's sitting on the kitchen counter right now, and they're going, we really need to go through this to figure out what's going to happen. But what's the last minute advice that you want, folks? It's February 26th. You're going to get registered. So
right, and most of the programs, again, won't start until the middle of March, some of them, so you don't want to miss out. But you need to take this, sit down, have game night. Friday night's game night used to always be in our house. So sit down, get ready, have a little pizza, sit down, make some decisions, play a little game, maybe come back to it. The attention span will stay with you through the whole thing, and you can have some fun actually picking out classes and sharing. Maybe you got older kids and younger kids, they can share what they like about programs and what they don't like. We want to give the kids as much opportunity. And again, if you don't see something and you think about something that your kid is sitting there discussing with you, call us. You know, if we can make it affordable and practical and we're able to fill a class to cover the cost, we will figure out some way to make it happen. We've done it over and over again based on what the community wants.
That's fantastic. So February 26th, it opens up spring registration. Don't be late.
And don't get sick like me.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Here's a look at things to do, places to go, and people to meet. The Association to Preserve Cape Cod wants your input on the next round of stormwater projects for the 3 bays. Join the APCC and its partners for a forum on cleaning up the bays managing stormwater pollution on Tuesday, February 26th at 6 p.m. at the Liberty Hall Club, 2150 Main Street, Marston's Mills. Now for a look at upcoming meetings for boards, commissions, and committees. Comments, suggestions, accolades, connect with us on Facebook and Instagram, email us, or send us an old-fashioned note by carrier pigeon. Channel 18 works for you. I'm Paula Hersey, and thank you for watching Barnstable Today.